couple of actors on it. It's actually a bloke, you know.
That was a part of the thing, right?
We've got everyone. I haven't left anyone behind, have we?
Yeah.
This is the entrance to the crypt of Christ Church in Spitalfields, a church which has stood here for well over 300 years. They recently took all the coffins out of the crypt to make room for a tea lounge. They made some interesting discoveries amongst the caskets, which they had rebedded. One of the coffins had metal bars around it, like a cage. What'd you put a cage around a coffin for, you might well ask?
What'd you put bars around a coffin for?
What'd you put a cage around a coffin for, you might well ask?
Dun, 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 dun.
What'd you put a cage? What'd you put a cage?
What'd you put a cage around a coffin for?
Why?
What was in it?
I'm not, it's just supposed to be a detective gang. It's supposed to be like a
You thought he was Jack? He looked like a top.
Well, it's Johnny Cash and Columbo combined. Thank you. What? We're losing it here. Some kind of narrative.
Why is there a cage around the coffin?
Well, thank you very much. Well, it's not to keep anyone in the coffin, obviously, because they're dead. It's to keep people out. A couple of 100 years ago, before the Ripper murders, a dead body was worth quite a lot of money here in London. Who to? Surgeons. Surgeons? Well, it wasn't the monetary value, it was the value of the body itself for the surgeons. The person who got the money for it was the body snatcher, who delivered it secretly to the surgeons, having broken into the crypt in the middle of the night and cracked open a fresh coffin. Of course, who's been watching the History Channel then? No, you did right. That's right. And I do. Did right. Very good. One of the most notorious gangs was the Ben Crouch gang, as a matter of fact. You may have heard of it if you'd heard of that. In fact, they run like a sort of, you know, basically if a surgeon started to use another body snatcher, him and his gang would break into the morgues and desiccate all the bodies so they couldn't be used for purpose. But the two most prolific body snatchers in London were Mr. Bishop and Williams. Now what you're going to do, of course, if you break into the crypt in the middle of the night and there's a cage around your fresh coffin, you can't get in, you can't get paid, you can't go hungry, you're going to find another way of making a body, perhaps. So they did. They turned up at King's College Hospital one night with the body of a 14-year-old boy, Italian street vendor from up the road in Shoreditch. The chief surgeon examined the specimen and immediately notified the authorities because he said it was suspiciously fresh. Indeed, the boy hadn't been buried at all. The body snatchers had murdered him, caved his head in and thrown him down a well. Who knows how the other 500 or so specimens they brought there for dissection over the years had met a similar fate. The two body snatchers, of course, ended up on the cutting slab, having gone to the gallows, as was the fate of all those who were hanged. 1832. Flash forward 56 years now, the church is open as a place of worship for the fallen women of the East End. But that building we passed out on the corner, yeah, the pub, yeah, the Ten Bells pub, was and still is the Ten Bells pub, always has been, except for a period in the 1980s when it was renamed the Jack the Ripper and was a theme bar around the murders. Imagine that, eh? Trying to make money out of all these murders. Never mind. One thing which unites our women then is it seems they are all dependent on alcohol. As medical examinations of their livers showed after they died. Two of Jack the Ripper's victims were definitely known to have drunk in that pub. Mary Jane Kelly's local, where she spent her last drinking hours on earth. What, are they going to escape their miserable lives by turning to the booze? Or maybe their addiction is what's actually brought them to the East End in the first place. Could certainly be said of victim number one, Miss Polly Nichols. Now, she'd been drinking heavily in the frying pan on Brick Lane down the end of the road, August 31st, 1888. Come closing time, she's staggered round the corner to a lodging house on Thrall Street, but the proprietor turned her away, not because she was drunk, but because she didn't have fourpence to pay for a bed for the night. Had to go back out there and find someone to give her one. Fourpence, that is. I'll soon be back with your DOS money, she said as she walked off. And referring to her new hat, see what a jolly bonnet I've got now. They found her at 3 o'clock in the morning on Bucks Row in Whitechapel, over half a mile away from here, east. She had a cut throat. The wound went from left to right and was very deep, all the way down to the backbone. What they didn't discover till they got the body to the mortuary was that she'd been sliced in the belly and partially disemboweled, a fact hitherto concealed by her clothing. Who's done that then, eh? And how comes, people said, how comes there ain't that much blood on the floor when they found the body? But those wounds, why? There should be blood everywhere. Maybe she's been done somewhere else and dumped there for a reason. Could be, maybe the blood's just soaked into her clothes. Oh yes, I hadn't thought of that. Oh well. She's gonna have a cut throat in the East End, isn't it? Maybe it's a gang-related incident. She might have owed money to the mob up the road, protection racket and all that. Well, 8 days later, another body is discovered just round the corner from here with similar wounds, albeit this time a bit more on display. I'm not allowed in the 10 Bells anymore. The lady who works there behind the bar said she didn't like me staring at her. That it was giving her the creeps. I should go away and find somewhere else to have a drink. Honestly. If I'd known she'd felt that way, I never would have had her name tattooed into my buttocks. Thank you. That was the
Other comedy.
new material.
So she's the butt of the joke. Low hanging
Never mind. We're all detectives here.
You've lost me.